let's move on to the Houston Texans, who have a quarterback that, in mine and Sky's opinion, was robbed of the MVP award last season. CJ Stroud, who really jumped onto the scene, but burst onto the scene, as Micah Richards would say, Adam. I mean, we said burst on the scene, but you and Andrew argued, well, we watched him at college. He was always going to be really good, but they've brought in Stefon Diggs, which is a huge addition to this offense. They've been building as well on the defense as well, and D'Amico Ryans is obviously a defensive mind and head coach. Have the Texans now tipped into a good team, into maybe potentially a great team?
Yeah, I think they've got a better and deeper squad now than what they had, and that's the thing that will probably tip them over from a good team to a really, really good team that can really do something here. The coaching has pretty much stayed the same. You've got the same head coach in there, which is great. They went 10-7 last year, which wasn't bad for them. I think they'll probably do better than that. My ceiling for them is 12. I think if everything goes right, they can do that. They have had a lot of guys that have gone, but no one that I would really say is like awful to lose. And then they've brought in some really good guys. You know, Joe Mixon has come into a running back room that kind of needed a little bit more in it. As you said, Stefon Diggs has come in. I think that'd be great. Daniil Hunter on the edge again, another one that's going to be really good. They didn't do anything that I would say was amazing in the draft, but I think they kind of, again, it was more about depth for them in the draft. And yeah, just a much stronger squad that I think is, even if they do get a few injuries, they're still going to be a team that is going to be up there, and I believe favourites to win the division, and I would be surprised if they didn't at the moment.
Yeah, I think injuries are like the big thing. I think this squad stays healthy for the full season. I truly believe this could be a Super Bowl team. It could be a team that could go and have a really good push in it. I mean, I don't think they're beating the Chiefs, but I could see an AFC Championship with Texans v the Chiefs. That's how I feel about them. I think they've really reinforced. Sky, do you sort of agree or disagree with that? Adam's very much they're the favourites. They could be 12 wins. Yeah. You know, do you agree that they have reinforced?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's only a nitpicky thing. I had them at 10 or 11 wins just because this division every year seems to be like randomly the bottom feeder will then beat the top spot. But that's just the AFC South in a nutshell. But yeah, I think Texans favourite, 10 or 11 wins. I think weirdly, again, it depends on, how effective Joe Mixon's going to be in the run game. How much juice has he got left in the tank? Like you said, Daniil Hunter, Adam touched upon, he's a difference maker on the edge. So, yeah, really like their chances. And Fred probably read my notes because I had them down as maybe a Cincinnati Bengals type. We saw their young promise, and then they got to a Super Bowl a lot earlier than people expected. And I think with the additions the Texans have made, as long as they keep Stefon Diggs' ego in check, then things could go well for them.
I think it kind of suits, though, doesn't it? You would expect him to kind of not do anything crazy because it's like, it's his first year, new team. So I think historically he's always been pretty good, hasn't he, for the first couple of years that he's been there. But I mean, like, his temperament has been pretty good as well. So it's like, I would be surprised if he would really want to rock the boat. And why would you want to rock the boat when you're on what we're all kind of saying is a Super Bowl potential team?
I think he rocks the boat after a few years because he wants to win a Super Bowl, and he's at the Vikings. He was like, we've made deep runs in the playoffs, and we can't get there. What are we going to do to get over that hurdle and get to the Super Bowl? And they probably told him that plan. And he's gone, I'm not here for a rebuild. I'm here to win that Super Bowl. He moves to the Bills, who were in that Super Bowl chat. He was fantastic for them. I know he whittled off last season, but again, I think he was there going, what are we doing next to then win it? And it did feel like the Bills took a step back last year because it didn't quite click. They did have injuries. They maybe not reinforced as good as they can. And I think he'll be fine at the Texans. I think he'll be completely fine. But he'll want to see the progression to get into that Super Bowl. And I think that's all that really matters to him. Actually, I don't think it is an ego. You say ego, I felt like in a negative way, but I think it's not ego in a negative way. I think it's ego going, I've been good enough in my career. I should have a Super Bowl next to my name. I've been at teams that were in that talk. I want that, and I think he just gets disgruntled with the lack of direction maybe these teams have.
I do agree to a point, but I just feel like with him, there's been times where he's made public comments about not getting the ball or body language. You look at the weapons they've got. I mean, obviously, I feel like we're all big Tank Dell fans. The amount of times we spoke about him, off the pod. Someone like him, a good young guy having a good year. If Diggs is not having, these big games, he just needs to be I'm not saying he's not a team player, but he needs to be a guy who accepts, sometimes I'm going to have 3 catches or we're going to run the ball with someone else's day. Like, just put that aside. And like you said, the Texans could be in with a shot. I think an element of his disgruntlement was that Bills not making a Super Bowl.
Isn't that normally when he wants out, though?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. Because, you see, this is the thing. It's like he moves, he's fine. Few years down the line, it's not worked. I need to move. It's almost like I need to move in order to be able to get the Super Bowl that I crave. So therefore, I'm going to do everything I can to get out of it, which is why I just don't think he's going to rock the boat that early in a new team.
I hope you're both right. Because the Vikings, when he left, people forget. Like, they, I know it was Case Keenum, but they weren't far off a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then he went to Buffalo, and Josh Allen wasn't the guy he is now. And again, it's like, it almost feels like maybe is he leaving a year too early each time. But let's see.